Thank you for tuning in to another Duttles cast. We're going to be doing a continuation on our last stream. We're going to continue in the Chobo Team League matchup between Formless, Bearsloths, and BornGosu. If this is your first time seeing my channel, this is something that I'm going to be trying to do regularly, just between the Formless Bearsloths matchups and Chobo Team League. If you've never heard of Chobo Team League, there is a link in the description. It's a phenomenal way for masters level and below, even down to bronze players to participate in a competitive style gaming for playing StarCraft, where each team that you can join, which there are open registration. I think you just have to have 20 games played to register. But each team is matched against each other each week, and then based on those results of the season, there's playoffs and everything at the end. It's a lot of fun to watch, a lot of fun to participate in, especially for us casual noobs like myself. In the cast today, I'm going to be joined with Coolbreeze. You can hear his beautiful voice in just a moment. Say hi, Coolbreeze.
Hello.
Link to his Twitch and YouTube will also be provided in the description, especially if you're an upcoming Terran player. Watch this guy. He's a god. He's way better than I am at StarCraft. But without further ado, let's go into our second match.
And for those of you who are curious, yes, gods do bleed. I don't know if I would call myself a god. It looks like we will have a plat level game. This is going to be on Blood Boil LE for those of you who can read the description on the top. And if you don't mind, I will go ahead and start off with the red Zerg player on the top left of the map. We do have our Formless Bearsloths representative for the team, Visser. Visser is a very aggressive Zerg player as well. I have had the joy and pleasure of both playing and losing to him recently. So some things you will be looking for him will be early aggression, frequent aggression, and really good map presence. He is a fantastic player when it comes to making sure that his overlords are in all of the wonderful void spaces that they can abuse for good scouting information. And
cool. In our bottom right, we have our BornGosu representative, spawning in the blue, our Terran player, Predator. I don't really know the history between BornGosu and Formless Bearsloths. I know that I believe BornGosu actually won the whole thing last season in CTL. So these matchups should be very important for us. We definitely picked our best in each league. Visser being the best platinum player we have on our team when it comes to MMR. Even though I've beat him a couple times, but let's face it, he wins the majority of our matchups. He's very good. He's not a one-trick pony, and I like that about him. Just any platinum and below usually has one build they can do for every race, or one build per race that they do, and they usually don't do have much variance between that. But he's definitely very flexible, and that makes him a very skilled player.
I do believe that Predator did go for a Refinery second, which means it should be a Reaper Expand. So we should see a fairly standard play out of him. It looks like Visser also went, I didn't look at the timing of it, it looks like it was Hatch Gas Pool, which should mean a fairly standard macro play with Zergling speed fairly quickly. Duttles, are you familiar with the Madden curse?
I am not familiar with this. Oh, actually, wait, do you mean whenever somebody's on the cover of Madden, they immediately have a terrible season?
Absolutely. So typically the Super Bowl winner is the person that's on the cover of Madden next year. For example, Tom Brady is this year's Madden cover. And the theoretical curse information is that Tom Brady will have the worst season of his life this season because he is on the cover of Madden this season.
We can only hope.
I don't mean to jinx it, but you did put a spoiler out in the last video saying that the series did end 5-2 in favor of Formless Bearsloths. So I'm not saying that it was a Madden curse, but it is kind of interesting that they did get beaten that series.
Mm-hmm. But not to say, that it wasn't deserved from us. Every single player that I've faced in this league is very good. We do have the Wings able to hold off that Reaper up top. Blood Boil being a very interesting map. Sorry to tangent here, but for Reaper play, because there's so many cliffs and just so many different ways to expand, there's a lot of vulnerabilities. I feel like Reaper plays are very good on this map.
Absolutely. It is a little strange and unique. This Reaper is going to get picked off by the Queen. I don't think he's going to be able to control it out. There it is. Some interesting notes about the map is that the void space for drops is very limited. So behind the main and the natural expansion that only has one geyser, there is no void space, whereas on other maps, for example, Ascension to Ire and Abyssal Reef, even Odyssey LE, there's plenty of space for you to get in there. But, like, for example, if you look at the Zerg base here, there's nowhere to hide a Liberator. If you go for that mineral line, the Queen can just skirt you. It is a great map, like you said, for Reapers because of the amount of cliffs. And the one thing that I didn't see out of Predator, if we look at Predator Vision here, he did not scout whether or not there was a third base, and that would be the information you're looking for at this point in time. Later in the game, he would want to sack it and look for the Zerg's tech structures, but not knowing whether or not he has a third base at this point in time, he would have to assume that he's going for some kind of a two-base pressure and play extremely defensively.
We did have a Marine, maybe a miss rally, but down on the low ground here, hanging out in that little crevice. Just, hanging out.
Nice.
Not being a complete deserter in the army, but, this guy's name is probably Frank. Frank was just trying to, just maybe be a little ahead of the guys. Battery fell down, and he was asking for some help up, and they were like, get out of here, Frank. Always embarrassing us in front of our friends. So the wall off is...
The first Zerg aggression in the game. The wall off does get a couple little hits in. Looks like the Zergling will bail out before the Marines are able to get a couple shots off, and it looks like they're going home.
Right. Frank just passing him by a little bit. And those guns really are just absolutely gigantic compared to the rest of their bodies, aren't they?
Yeah. I think I've made this comment before in one of my earlier casts, and I am a retread here from Heart of the Swarm coming back to Legacy, so I am learning a lot of stuff. However, I do personally feel like the better second expand to take would be at the base of your ramp. I know it's more dangerous to hold, but this is just my personal experience that I feel like if you take that, it'll force you to find a way to hold it versus when you take the easy expand. And I hate to say this, but I play a lot of Terran, and I feel like Predator's going to get turtled here, where he won't be able to find an easy timing to get back out and take that expansion.
Right. My mentality is I want to be able to expand outward, and then have that guarantee behind. But one of the benefits of expanding back here is, man, is that just a good proxy spot. And it gives you vision in other ways, but also you can watch those rocks to watch that backdoor entrance. So that's definitely good to have something back there to watch for that sort of a cheesy play. But, right, we have the Doom Drop about to come in. However, but I agree wholeheartedly. It looks like Visser sees this immediately. Ling's on there, they're just going to be killing Marines as they come out. Fantastic play by Visser.
Absolutely, and Predator with good control only loses one Marine in that drop. And again, you do see, whereas like in a normal base, because of the where the cliff would be, there's enough void space. There's just enough space where you can drop those Marines in that mineral line, and you plug up the hole so that the Lings can't get a full surround, and you've got yourself a little natural barricade. And unfortunately, on Blood Boil, you just don't have that space. It's funny because a lot of players hate this map, but it seems to me that, especially like against the Terran bio play, this actually gives you an advantage to kind of protect yourself.
Mm-hmm. I believe, by the way, just to throw it back there, I think it's I'm just going to say it was Frank. Frank was the one first to die. Typical Frank. Man, Visser's response time is fantastic. I know that he's had that looming feeling of the drop coming in, but the surround coming in, is he going to be able to get out in time? Good. Oh, he loses him!
Fully loaded.
That has to hurt.
Look at the macro production, though. On the back end, Predator does have another command center just finishing up, so he will be taking a third. 1-1 just finished. He has more tanks, 2 more barracks on the way, and on top of that, he's continuing to pump units on the back end of this, whereas Visser, his response timing cost him because on the macro side, look, he doesn't have an inject on his main hatchery. He has literally nothing in production. He just now started putting down extractors. That drop play put him at a dead stop, so it was a very beneficial play.
And having 3,000 minerals in almost in the bank right now, with only really what units does he have out right now? Just 44 Zerglings and 6 Queens, and that's it, with 22 larvae ready to be spent. So with only, and he needs some more overlords. I don't know if he has those. No overlords in production. Only 5 food away from being supply blocked.
Absolutely, and I feel like with him playing as heavy Ling as he is, especially against the bio army, the one unit that he's missing that he really needs to fill out his army, of course.
I'm gonna say it for you. I know what it is. It's the bastard Baneling.
And there's no Baneling nest down.
Right.
I don't know what Predator did, but he really has Visser off his game. Because again, I've played against this guy. I've been beaten by this guy, and I can tell you that the playstyle that I'm seeing right now it's almost not even the same player.
Right. He had a good start, and his response time is fantastic. But I mean, yeah, just that Congo line of Zerglings into the Marines and siege tanks there, that has to hurt as well. However, but I think he does have a Baneling nest. It just started Baneling speed. It looks like, or
right on.
So centrifugal hooks, is that? Yeah, that's movement speed. Okay.
I will be honest with you. I call them centrifugal, but I think it's actually centrifugal because I heard somebody say that the other day.
You're right. Centrifugal.
I've been saying that up until like last
Ooh, good
week,
surround.
so I don't judge. Marines do get picked off by the Zergling on creep. His creep spread is pretty solid, and he does have a. I like this play. I like the gold expand.
Right. And this game, it's so easy to hold because it's pretty far away from your enemy's base, and you have vision outside of it. So if you're gonna turtle anywhere, guys, anybody playing this game, it's the cheesiest place to expand, but boy, is it good. Man, I hate this map, I'll be honest. Just the ninja expansions you have all over the place. I played on the EU ladder Terran player who ninja expand with only planetary fortresses on all the corners. So here, and I believe here, and just had turrets and bunkers and planetary fortresses, and was able to just mass cloak Banshee me, and it was just devastating. It was the worst game I've ever played. Props to him, it was a hilarious build, but it just made me hate this map even more. Of course, my
Turrets and barracks and bunkers, oh my. Great play out of Predator. Moving out onto the creep, I love the pre-spread. The first thing you need to do as a Terran player entering onto creep, you have to assume there's banelings. You take out the creep tumors and pre-spread your army, but it looks like he's going to utilize the mobility of the bio army and get out, as he only has one siege tank to back him up, and it is not set up. I do believe this is going to be a doom drop, and he has to be extremely careful because the leading medevac has all of 14 health on it, which I believe is just about one volley of queen shots, and then he's done skis.
Right, these banelings right around the corner with the medevacs away, huge hits!
Jesus!
The entire army cleared up except for one medevac full of Marines. I don't think that's going to be able to do anything. He needs to get out of dodge, especially with those mutas. Where did those mutas go? I don't know if we had any pressure at the bottom with them.
What the flock of mutas? There are only 4 of them right now, and they are rallied outside of the base. However, we do have these Marines. They did find a good drop spot. These banelings will come in and get some money hits. There are 2 left, and they will be zoned out by both the banelings, the queens, and the sport crawler. I said both. It's a trifecta. We do have more Marines in the siege tank waiting outside of that gold expansion. He could move in with Visser's army out of position. However, the main army with the banelings and Zerglings, and I'm glad he finally did get that rounded out, is waiting in the pivot point between the natural and that 4th expand.
Right. Looks like those banelings could probably just come in here and wipe this whole thing out. However, I would like to see out of Predator just maybe send one Marine in and see if he's trying to get that that gold up again. Because if he gets that built, okay, it looks like we had a pause break in the replay. Unfortunately, it didn't actually pause on us. Had a lag.
Absolutely. Predator not missing a beat. There are Mutalisks moving in at this gold expansion. However, on the back end of that early pressure, he did produce a 4th command center. He is landing it at the gold, and it looks like he will be responding with both Marines and Widow Mines. And I do believe he will zone those guys out and should be able to expand. His macro is fantastic right now. He's sitting on 76 harvesters, which might be a little on the heavy side. I think 64 is about optimal for about 3 days saturation. And if you do look at his 3rd base, he is sitting at literally double the number of harvesters that he needs for that 36 out of 16.
Especially with none of them going to gold at all. It's not like he really needs it with 1,500 in the bank, but I mean that extra 15, 16, 15 guys coming over here to.
We do have Widow Mines setting up outside of the gold expansion. The Marines are moving in. It looks like he will siege up his tank. If he can get in here and get some good hits, he does have his ninja tank on the 5th expansion, I believe. He is waiting. We will see. These Widow Mines, I think, will be his undoing. I believe Visser's going to go for a rear entry here, the rear admiral. It looks like he's going to try and pick off the siege tank, but it's going to be a bad trade as those Widow Mines are going to get some money hits on the Mutalisks.
Right.
Zergling are getting a surround on the army. It looks like they will pick up that tank. Predator does pick up, and he will have those medevacs moving out. However, one of them has no health on it. Those Mutalisks are just as fast as those medevacs. He will pick that off. Second one's gone. All of 14 Marines gone in the blink of an eye.
And we still don't have any mining happening at home from Predator out of that gold base. A lot of Widow Mines, though. How many Widow Mines does this guy have?
He does have 4 outside the gold expansion.
13 Widow Mines total. How Korean of him. That's fantastic. And in that gold base, yeah, it looks like it's about to get picked off. If those Widow Mines were in place, that would have been an easy fix against this little Zergling Bane composition. So Widow Mines are definitely the right answer against this entire composition, because they just absolutely wreck Mutalisks since they clump up too much. Zerglings are just, as we can see by that money shot.
I don't know if you saw that.
I did. That was.
Oh, God.
How many kills does this guy have? 14 kills on this guy, 2 on him, 5 on him, only 1 on him. That's Frank came back in Widow Mine form and is just hanging out at the bottom with only 1 kill. Sorry, Frank, I don't know how you even made it into the military, buddy.
God, he's sitting on top of that mine. This is going to be a money shot. Oh, and he's drawing a couple more Zergling in. Here come the Overlord detectors, Overseers,
Right.
and the shot goes off, but it doesn't
Only on
get
one.
very much.
Yeah,
The
he
gold
minimized
expansion
the
is going
damage.
back down. I do like this play out of Predator. He is picking up a Thor who did receive a recent buff. I believe they increased their armor. I think it either went from 0 to 1 or 1 to 2. I don't remember what it is. They give him an extra point of armor, and that makes a huge difference because if you start getting vehicle armor, which is it makes your medevacs much more robust. Those Thors last so much longer against melee units. They of course are pretty terrible against Zergling, but they do a fantastic job of shooting anti-air, doing splash damage against those mutants if they do pump up with targeted fire. Predator will be caught out of position, even with those Widow Mines getting good hits. It does clean up a good chunk of those Banelings, but there's still plenty more waiting around. The problem I have with Widow Mines, and I don't think it's Widow Mines in general, but you have to make sure that your army is pre-split, and you can't be taking your own Widow Mine hits. And I just don't know if Predator has the control to do that properly. It looks like we do have more Banelings moving in. It will be enough to clean this up, but against that Thor, it will not be effective. He does pick up the Thor at the last second, and looks like he's going to GTFO, take some high ground, take a couple pot shots, but the Mutalisk will move in, and that Thor is going to die in the medevac.
Oh, that's the worst way to go.
It would almost have been better just to leave the Thor on the ground. It absolutely would have been better to leave the Thor on the ground.
Right.
The fourth expansion for Visser is down to the bottom third of its health bar, so it is vulnerable to any kind of drop play, but we do have the Mutas moving into the gold expansion for Predator.
I think that's a 6th expansion. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6, 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 7 bases. No, I'm sorry. I was thinking that this ball of army was a base. But no, that is just some Ultralisks, Banelings, Zerglings, and Overseers.
It is a very robust unit composition. I do like, it looks like he has the chitinous plating for Overlords. It is either researching or, oh no, it hasn't started. He will need to pick that up against the Bio Army. It makes them just so tanky. It gives them an extra 2 armor.
Mm-hmm.
That is the upgrade that nightmares are made of. I literally have nightmares about that. I played a game recently on ladder with a very new build order that I picked up off of Beastie Cutie. I think he posted the video on the 23rd of May, if that gives you an idea of how relatively new it is to the metagame.
Mm-hmm.
And against the Zerg player, he went 3 base, and it completely wrecked him, but I couldn't quite finish him off. And what ended up happening is I saw a 9-minute Ultralist come out, and fortunately for me, I have enough control that I was able to just split my units out where nobody was touching, and I was able to kill the Ultralist, but they are still just even without the chitinous plating, such a scary and robust unit to have to deal against a Bio Army. You do need the mines involved to get that splash damage and that concentrated damage in, because they do get a nice little chunk in, and that will definitely help with it. But again, it just comes down to how Predator can control those. It looks
like our Zerg player just cleared those rocks at the perfect timing. This setup would have been absolutely devastating without that easy access in here. Looks like he's going to be able to. Well, he was halfway across the map. However, him coming back home right now, especially with some of this creep spread, he's going to be able to come back and fight this army immediately. Are there any medevacs?
And with those Overseers, we're going to get some money hits in.
Oh, but they're all going to the Ultralist. That's the best thing that you would want from this army right now, because they're just going to be able to take it the most. Thors just get melted away. Plenty of Banelings left over. Does he respond? If he moves out right now, there's almost nothing at home waiting for him. He only has 4 Siege Tank, 3 Marines, 10 Widow Mines. Those are pretty good against the Zerglings, but I don't think it's going to be enough for these Ultralists.
You can definitely see, and I was talking about this earlier, if you look at the Harvester count, the supply for Predator is sitting at 180, but 113 of those are Harvesters right now. So his army value is, you're looking at 7,200 versus 2,000. And that's going to be extremely difficult to deal with as far as especially having tier 3 top tier tech units out like Ultralists.
Right. One thing that I'd like to see in this army, and I appreciate him and moving out so fast, but with these expensive Ultralists on such low health, having some Queens in this army, or at least sending them back home with some Queens for some transfuses, would be very optimal just to make sure. I mean, this guy only has 37 health, 66 on this guy, 1 fresh new baby out as well. We have 2 Ultralists at 500 health. But, I mean, essentially that's not 5 Ultralists, that's 2.5, 6 Ultralists. I take that back. Don't do math on stream, guys. As my mom always said.
Looks like the needles will get taken out, but the cost will be very high as these Ultralists come in behind and go, "Surprise, motherfucker! It's death time!"
This Thor not even attacking, he's just trying to get out of there. Oh man,
like,
cue the music, the move command! Oh no! He would have been able to do at least a little bit of damage, I assume, that poor Thor.
Right here, this defensive position is what 80% of my Platinum games felt like when I played Terran. You literally, the Zerg has full map control, and you're just like, oh my god, I know I'm gonna die, but I don't know when it's coming.
Right. That's the you know, on an airplane they teach you before an accident to just put your head in between your knees and hold your hands above behind your neck, and that essentially doesn't really do anything. I'm just going to zoom it over to me really quick. Just this oh my goodness, please no. That's called the kiss your ass goodbye technique, and I believe that is what's happening right now from our Terran player. He is grabbing the back of his neck, hoping that the Terran or that the Zerg player isn't a mountain and maybe could be a lake that he can crash into instead. Sorry if anybody that may have been an insensitive comment. I'm not sure. Battlecruisers out though. That's an interesting choice. I think that it could be a saving grace if handled correctly.
I think these players need to go ahead and duke it out. Look at the resources. I think both of them are now sitting on Oprah money. Fun fact on the kiss your ass goodbye position: when you do, if you ever find yourself in a real life situation where you have to do that, don't interlock your fingers. And the reason you don't want to do that is if something falls on your hand and your fingers are interlocked, it will injure both hands. And then when you try and get off the plane, you are club fisted. If you don't interlock your fingers when you do try and get off the plane, if you do injure one hand, you at least have one that's good that'll help you get out. And in case anyone's curious why I know that, I married a flight attendant. So I am not a professional plane crash escaper. The irony to this engagement is that losing this base with all of that money doesn't hurt Predator as much as it needs to, but it did get his harvester count down to 63, which is going to allow him to spend that bank and actually get military units out to engage this army, which is, ironically enough, actually making it harder for Visser, not easier. After he lost that gold expansion, it actually dropped him down from 110 harvesters down to 91.
Oh, huge! Yeah, huge Widowmine hits.
Bye-bye. I have a...
Fantastic placement.
A Muta surprise, but I won't tell you guys about it because I haven't gotten it to work yet. When I do, I will stream it, and y'all can see the glory that is. But it is my secret Terran technique for dealing with Mutalisks, which I'm sure is not that secret. Looks like these Ultras Endlings will try and poke in on the back, and they do run into this army. One of the things that we have seen consistently as a Predator...
Is that double move command?
We're seeing it again, is he gets caught out of position a lot, and he gets surprised a lot. None of these Marines are even stem, and as soon as those Banelings get hit, man, it just cleans up that entire army. That door is just like... It looks like he's doing the robot, and those Ultralisks are like, not in my house.
Right, but he has no response to these battlecruisers. They are just sitting on, 5 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills... I mean, he is just melting all these, and he can even do... He's going to do any Yamato cannons, because that would just destroy these Ultralisks.
But the unfortunate thing about battlecruisers are, it's like the difference between a doctor and a medic. When you ask, what's the difference? Doctor cures people, a medic just makes you comfortable while you die.
Right.
That's what a battlecruiser is going to do, because while the battlecruiser is not taking direct fire, it's like... There are so many units on the ground, and with those Ultralisks, okay, so a battlecruiser is doing what, 8 damage? Ultralisks have 7 armor. Do you know how long it takes to kill something when you're doing 1 damage a shot, even if it's shooting 5 times a second? It takes a freaking long time.
Right. We actually have pretty equal army supply right now. It's 134 to 127 in favor of our Zerg player. And our upgrades, I mean, they're both sitting at, 3-3 with the Terran vehicle and ship plating level 2 on top of it. I mean, it's pretty equal, and with more battle cruisers, if you were able to get some with some that freed up, looks like we got some liberators, some of that freed up supply, he would probably be able to do some great damage because the Mutalisk count is pretty low, especially when to keep on flying over these widow mines here.
What Visser needs to do at this moment with the army that he has the forces, especially with Predator. If he had the map vision, he knows he's out of position. He needs to just punch through, kill what he can. He has the bank to rebuild it, and I'm sure he's banking the larva to do it, because he doesn't have the supply right now to be able to replace the units to get the air corruptors that he needs to deal with these battlecruisers. But if you punch through that main, there is almost zero income for the Terran army.
Ooh,
every single unit he has is golden now.
So we had the Corruptors coming out initially. Corruptors is going to be getting absolutely melted by the battlecruisers. However, the Zerg army getting a full surround on these Marines. What's going to be his answer? The Corruptors are coming out pretty slow, so this engagement is probably a little too early for Visser to be able to handle these battlecruisers. These medevacs coming in, just nice slowly cruising on in here. They could do some damage. Looks like they're just going to be unloading right in front of some queens. Might not be optimal for him.
I would still love to see this main army for Visser clean up these medevacs, get those taken care of, and then just push in on the main, because you're going to force Predator to make a decision to whether he's going to defend or try and go on a base trade situation. Base trade is going to favor Visser because he has more bases and more mining bases, in addition to a much larger bank, so he'll be able to replace anything that he loses. Predator has to defend. He can't lose. Every single one of these units is worth its weight in gold, because once they're gone, he doesn't have the income to replace them.
It looks like they were able to warp out, coming back home. Which is a pretty smart move, because those queens, I mean, that's the one thing that he had. Those battlecruisers are so valuable when it comes to defense, because he doesn't really have enough corruptors. Well, now he's starting to. So I understand his urgency to attack. It needed to be then. Especially both these players are pretty much maxed out, with their Zerg player completely maxed out. I mean, these engagements are just not favoring either player sometimes, it seems.
Oh, the Zergling and the battlecruiser are taking
my goodness!
Splash damage off of it. He needs to lift up that command center, and there it goes. And unfortunately, the Zergling did eat the Widow Mines. This would be more than enough to clean up those Ultralists. However, they are on the recharge. I like that move, though. The one Liberator, he puts down some freaking freedom on that gold expansion, but it's a little bit too late.
liberating one gold expansion at a time.
And of course, once those corruptors come in, he will be literally shitting his pants, because he is in the mode where he cannot run away.
Yeah, three Liberators versus and 3 battlecruisers just are not going to be able to do it against 8 corruptors. One of them is pretty low in health, but we have more coming out.
That engagement, like I said, Visser has his ground army to punch through this blockade right now. That is a lot of Widow Mines, and unfortunately those Widow Mines eat up a lot of supply. The more he chooses to kind of seesaw back and forth, attack and then run away, attack and run away, those Widow Mines are going to be more and more cost effective. If he would just push in, I mean, he could literally cripple Predator right now. And ironically enough, the attacks that he did, where he goes in and he hits his expansions, has actually benefited this player. Because, like I said, he's reduced the SCV count in such a way that it actually has allowed him to get the army units out to go toe-to-toe with the Zerg that he has.
Looks like just about every single one of these workers are about to be cleaned up. Trying to get that surround on the planetary to keep it repaired, but that's going to be too little too late. Battlecruisers are just falling from the sky. Looks like our Zerg player may be sealing the deal right now. These Widow Mines just in... So much damage could be done. Walking right into siege tanks, those 2 Ultralists did die. So bringing the queens in the army is great. It's super slow, so he definitely needed a little bit more creep spread. I feel like halfway through the game...
those queens are about to get pooped on!
Oh no, oh no!
It's not going to be enough, it's just a little bit of splash. You can transfuse the crap out of that.
Right.
If they walk into this, oh god, in that slow choke point, I know they're larger units, so they won't take as much splash, but that could be really bad. Does he have an Overseer? Ooh, Broodlords are in production! Yes, sir! That's what I like to see. This game will be over very shortly. We're going to call this position the Alamo. I definitely feel sorry for this Marines.
The Alamo.
If Frank were still here, I'm pretty sure what he would say right now is, when I came into this world, I was born kicking and screaming naked, covered in somebody else's blood. I intend to go out the same way, as he strips off his Marine suit.
Oh, Broodlords is taking the brunt of these Widow Mines, though. Probably not ideal for them.
I do like the Predator did get them in a good position. And like I said, this back and forth poking is just benefiting Predator. Because every time that he pokes in, those Widow Mines have time to recharge, and he gets a full volley of hits in off the next one. These Widow Mines, however, I do believe are going to actually kill more Predator units.
Tactical jump 4 feet ahead, just straight into the Corruptors. That's probably a misclick, and I feel really bad. We do have some double prong harassment going on. Double pronged, I apologize. These slow queens, the poor things. Earlier I did see Visser. Wow! Oh, but there's just so many Marines doing so much damage. They're able to about do an even trade. Zergs do take it over, even with the probably still a little bit of friendly fire happening from those siege tanks.
Look out, boys and girls! It is a minefield out there.
Literal.
And it looks like we will see Visser pulling back. I think he's going to let the Broodlords do their job. And those mines are actually going to be the worst enemy that Predator has right now, because with those Broodlords dropping Broodlings, they cost literally nothing for the Zerg player, and they will trigger those mine hits against his own units. Look at that. Marine's taking hit. That guy has 1 health left.
Yeah, I honestly, I think it was a very well played game from our Terran player. He lasted much longer than a lot of us would have against Visser's aggression and against that army composition especially. I think he made some very good decisions. Those Widow Mines helping him out a lot. However, I think it might be about time to GG it up. It was just with this constant flow of Zerg pouring into his base. And I mean, 3,600 minerals to 22 with no mining bases. There we go. We get the good GG. Very well played from both players. It's a lot of fun. Again, please, if you're interested in this sort of gameplay, sign up at choboteamleague.com. The link will be posted in the description for anybody who doesn't feel like typing. Please feel free to check out Coolbreeze's stream as well, Twitch TV/CBG. Coolbreeze, I believe it is. Again, the link will be posted. And feel free to hit subscribe on YouTube if you liked it. It definitely supports me and helps me out a lot and will encourage me to make more videos if you liked it. So thank y'all so much. Go Formless Bearsloths. Y'all have a phenomenal day.